Beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop,
Where's
boop.
my
That's
camera?
right. That's right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The machine is vibing.
man.
Oh, we got him. We got him. It's
Okay.
wait for it.
Frustrated right now. So frustrated right now.
The man.
He's entered. The man has entered. Wyatt is here.
I'm the machine.
Yeah, I'm the machine. If you guys are just tuning in, Bradley Stalder here, along with Wyatt. Wyatt, we're in 2026. Look at us. This is excellent. Man versus machine here with you tonight. And we're going to talk some free agents. Like, it's dynasty season. It's playoff season. Some of you are in the playoff challenges that different sites have. Fantastic. Wonderful. This is not that show, though. We are talking some full, straight up players who are on their way out, possibly. Maybe there's some hope for extensions. There's been some chatter among the teams. That's why you got to tune into the news and the news desk. So if you haven't bookmarked playerprofiler.com/news, like, that is a must. The guys are working overtime to get you when players declare, when news drops, when there are beat writers saying things about your favorite player or maybe your least favorite player. Maybe you hate Kyle Pitts and we've got some news for you. Or even better, maybe you love David Njoku and you want him free. Well, guess what? The guys are working overtime to get you the David Njoku quotes. Regardless, go to playerprofiler.com/news. This is the time. We want to be listening into what the GMs are saying, what the owners are saying. I mean, okay, it wasn't about a particular player, Wyatt, but it was about a coach. I don't know if you caught the Ravens owner being asked about Jim Harbaugh, but it was wild when he said, if Loop makes that kick, is Harbaugh still the coach? Did you hear his response?
I missed this one. You got to tell me.
This was unbelievable. And the owner said, well, for one more week.
That's a good one. That's a good quote.
I'm sure you've seen the memes on Twitter where they had the crossbars, and on one side of the crossbar and the other side it was fire Harbaugh, and in the middle it was fire Tomlin.
I did not see that meme, but I love it.
Well, they updated it and it said in the middle, instead, between the crossbars were reality is an illusion.
Yeah. Like
these Zach Taylor's the only head coach. He's the best head coach in the division. I
don't know how he's the last man standing.
It's just wild. But there's news. There's lots of news. There's things dropping every day from owners, from coaches, from players. I mean, there was just a beat writer's quote that came out either today or yesterday about Jonathan Brooks and how the Carolina Panthers are very interested in getting Jonathan Brooks revved up and ready to go after the ACL tear at the end of last season. So there's a lot happening in the offseason. You don't want to miss out. Wyatt, we're going to kick it off, though, with perhaps the number one running back in this free agent class as of this time, and that's Breece Hall. Like, New York Jets, historically bad team, just historically bad. And Breece Hall puts up a career low 13 fantasy points per game, but a career high in rushing yards and rush attempts. What kind of market is there going to be for a Breece Hall?
I think there will be a good market. It wouldn't surprise me if he made the most money out of this free agent class. He's still really good, like the Jets team is terrible. And he was still making things happen when there was nothing to happen in that offense at times. Yeah, it was kind of a career worst for him in a way, in some spots, in points per game, like you said. But I think everyone who's watched Breece Hall play knows that he's just extremely talented, and this situation was just the worst. So I expect him to move on somewhere. I would be very surprised if he stays in with the Jets. Even if they offer him more than other teams, I imagine he's walking. And he's definitely going to be someone I'm going to be really interested in for 2026.
Absolutely. I want all of the Breece Hall. This is like, I'm going to keep beating a dead horse because I just believe in the talent so much for Hall. And despite the lack of production, he still was 5th among running backs in opportunity share, 9th in routes run, 16th in yards per touch, 4th in breakaway runs. Like, that's the Jonathan Taylor portion of his game, is like, just he can go. And he's got super speed. So like the nuts landing spot would of course be the Chiefs, but like almost anywhere would be a sizable upgrade to Breece Hall. I was Breece Hall RB1 overall contention maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We saw him in 2023 be the RB6. He caught 76 passes, had over 220 rush attempts. Like, this was a player that can handle large workload, is explosive. So, had his fair share of injuries and the team incompetence. I think this is a sleeper pick for reclaimed top 5 running back, even if it's an average landing spot.
Yeah, I mean, an average landing spot would be a significant upgrade from the Jets.
That's putting it very modestly, Wyatt.
Yeah.
So, if Breece Hall is gone from the New York Jets, they've got a couple other players. I mean, they like Isaiah Davis, right? They've got a couple others behind him, but I don't imagine the Jets go out of their way to sign a big running back free agent, nor should they address it in the draft when they don't have an answer at quarterback. Like, I don't think their roster construction is designed at this point to handle using a round 1 or round 2 pick, even if they trade back from 2. Like, let's say they gain some assets, like, they're still not in a position where you should use a day 1 or even a day 2 draft pick. Like, just keep playing darts in round 3 and see what you can get. That's how I'd approach it. Is that how you think they should approach it?
I think it kind of depends on what they do at QB. If this is like Kyler Murray landing spot, I think they're going to want to build around them. It wouldn't surprise me. Like if they, let's say, get Kyler Murray, drafting a running back on day 2 doesn't seem crazy to me. Because at that point you just kind of want to build around Kyler Murray. They already have actually a decent offensive line. It's like the one place where actually you can feel confident about the Jets. So yeah, I mean, if they go into the draft without a QB and we don't know what their QB situation is going to be, then I would think running back is not high on their priority list because there's more things to try and figure out.
Sure. Yeah, the quarterback is a major domino because they could try to sign a Malik Willis, right? They could trade for a Mac Jones, or you mentioned Kyler Murray. Yeah. I'm wondering, fit wise, I know you mentioned Kyler. I don't know if he would mesh very well with Aaron Glenn. That's just I mean, it seems
I don't know what does yet, I would say.
I mean, fair.
I don't know what they're looking for. They tried to make it work with Justin Fields. I'm not sure that means that's the type of quarterback they want or don't want. I truly don't know. Okay.
Well, we'll see with Breece Hall. Ken Walker is next on our list. And Ken Walker is, he started, he was second round pick, but started to share more and more with Zach Charbonnet. And this is a former second round pick. He had actually a pretty efficient year, 4.7 yards per carry, career high, but career low in touchdowns. Fine in terms of receptions, but was definitely not being used in the passing game like he was in 2024. fell down to running back 28, which was his worst finish in PPR in points per game this season. And the opportunity share was just not there, like 30th among running backs. But it could have been even lower if he was on like an average team and they were splitting, because the Seahawks were number 4 among all teams in team run plays per game. So his volume was kind of even propped up because they ran so many plays, and the game script was good for Seattle. Seattle might view Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet as redundant pieces. So we'll see how Seattle approaches it, but I'm leaning toward Ken Walker not returning to Seattle either.
I think so, and I hope that happens, because it kind of opens up 2 players, because I think if he does leave, Charbonnet is just going to get the Seattle backfield for the most part. Like, I don't really expect them to invest highly. I think that's a coaching staff who inherited Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They see 2 good running backs, and they just kind of want to use them both because they're, some of their better weapons on the offense. So I think if they're split up, they would just use Charbonnet for the most part. And then Walker can go somewhere where he possibly gets a backfield more to himself, and they can kind of both flourish. I think they're both really good running backs. I like Ken Walker more. I think he's just more dynamic than Zach Charbonnet, and could do things that Charbonnet can't. Ken Walker absolutely has a lot of negative plays. That is part of his game. It's something you have to live with. It's kind of like the give and take of his explosive style.
It's a Saquon light.
Yeah, definitely Saquon light. Not as good as Saquon for sure, which when you have a boom bust running style, it's not ideal, I would say. You end up having more negative plays than you would like. But I think he still does make up for those negative plays. So he's still a player that I like. But the thing for Kenneth Walker is, does he go to a coaching staff who sees him as a 3-down back and wants to use him in the passing game? He's shown that he can do it, but it hasn't been every year. No. So it matters for which coaching staff he's with.
And that was a major question for Kenneth Walker coming out of college too. Like, is he going to catch passes? And I think we have enough data to say he's capable of it. But as you said, like the coaching staff, it's going to come down to whether they believe that he can be 3 downs or whether his 2-down skill set is just too precious. Like last year, number 12 in yards per touch, number 1 in juke rate, number 4 in explosive rating, and number 3 in breakaway runs. Some of these coaches may look at some of those metrics and say, hey, like this is a player that we need to make sure is healthy all 17 games and into the playoffs, if that's something for our goal. Like we want to be able to keep him healthy throughout the season. So Kenneth Walker, yeah, this is the landing spot. He could be a big riser or faller throughout this process, throughout this offseason. I'm very interested.
Yeah.
Next one, I have less of a take on, and I'd like to get your opinion first, and maybe that'll help me because I haven't thought very deeply about Travis Etienne. But Etienne is a player that look, last summer it was Bashal Tootin season, right? It's Travis Etienne. It's at the time Tank Bigsby was still on the team, and so throughout this process, there's been a lot of hate for Travis Etienne. And I mean, he held onto the job for the season. I mean, Etienne, running back 13, fantasy points per game. That's his second best in his career, and his best yards per carry since 2022. 36 receptions is nothing to scoff at. 13 total touchdowns. That's probably what's propping up his fantasy points per game. But you have to like him paired with Liam Cohen. And we were all, as a consensus, like expecting more from other running backs entering this season. And so I'm hesitant to say, you know what, Jacksonville will just let Etienne walk. Like I'm hesitant to make a stand on that because we as a community were off, so we'll see what happens, but maybe you have a stronger take as of this point, Wyatt.
I think there's potentially a really interesting conversation here, but I think he's just going to resign with the team. I would expect the Jaguars to try and retain him. I don't know why they wouldn't. This is a really good team, and they just took Josh Allen and the Bills down to the wire. Debatably should have ended up winning that game, or at least tying it up there at the end before the game sealing interception. And I know they have Bashal Tutin, who's looked good whenever he's gotten his opportunities as well, but that was Travis Etienne's backfield. And he's coming off the best season of his career, really, or close to it, obviously he's had a better fantasy finish in the past, but just overall, staying potent through the year, as a player,
Yes.
I think this was his best year, and a lot of that's due to Liam Cohen. I mean, I would expect Liam Cohen to want to keep him, keep the band together. This offense is good. Why would you not want to keep this going,
70% opportunity share, number 5 in red zone touches. That is nowhere close to the volume that anyone I had seen was making projections for.
Yeah,
nowhere close. And so even though it wasn't a super efficient season for Etienne, it was a good season, and he got lots of opportunity, which is exactly what you want to prop you up on a running back too when you're drafting in fantasy. Etienne was perfect for your running back too. So yeah, I'm going to keep thinking about it. I leaning toward Etienne, I'd probably put it at 55-60% him staying then. I've not a strong take, but that's how I'm kind of leaning right now. Okay. Javonte Williams. I think we can have stronger takes on this one. Yeah. Javonte, Wyatt has, for those who haven't followed Wyatt, you should follow Wyatt at Wyatt B_FF on the X machine. Make sure you guys are following him. Great follow. And also make sure that you are checking out not only Wyatt's take on Javonte Williams, but also coming back and doing reflection on what was going on with Javonte, right? This was a player I know you were out on for a long time. It wasn't until maybe the last couple weeks before the start of the season that I was getting much Javonte either. So Dallas, though, I think has strongly shared with the community they want Javonte back. Played very, very well. Clearly the bell cow running back. And it doesn't make any real sense for Dallas to move on given the current chatter, but also how well Javonte played with them. Just sign him to a long-term deal. That's what we're hearing right now. Anything else?
Yeah, that was probably my biggest miss for the 2025 season. But I took my L's a few times. I mean, he looked like his old self, and I wasn't sure he'd ever be like that again. But yeah, I would think that the Cowboys would re-sign him. This is another one where I think that's what should happen. I would think that they would. It makes sense, right? He played really well for them. I can't imagine he's gonna be that expensive. Why would you not keep him around? But also, I thought they would keep around Rico Dowdle 2 years ago after Rico Dowdle went for 1,200 yards, and it was and he could be had real cheap, and they let him walk for Javonte. I mean, it was a good decision by them. Javonte was better, but I guess I just don't know what Jerry Jones really wants to do. But I would think he would stick around, and I'll probably end up being wrong again on Javonte in 2026. So I'll probably be yeah, Javonte in Dallas again. I'm sure this is going to be good. And then I'll probably draft some and be wrong again.
Yeah. Javonte Williams probably staying in Dallas. Rico Dowdle, just really briefly, we expect that Rico will move on. It seemed like there was a lot of chatter from Rico.
Especially with the Jonathan Brooks kind of hype that's coming up on the scene right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jonathan Brooks or ascension in the coach speak, the reduced role at the end of the season for Rico, him keeping in mind that he wants and I think could handle a very big role. Mm-hmm. He deserves to have, I think, an even fuller chance. The reason why he was thrown into the starting role is because Chuba Hubbard suffered the injury, and then he played so well, it was impossible for
Mhm.
the Carolina Panthers to put the genie back in the bottle right away. They had to wait a while. So,
Yeah.
you know, I expect Rico Dowdle to have an interesting market. I wonder if the market isn't as big as he wants it to be. I could see him staying in division. I could see him going to Atlanta and being Algiers' replacement.
Yeah. Algiers an interesting name too, because he's also a free agent, right?
He is.
He would probably be like the next running back up after these four that we've talked about, where he could make an impact somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Rico Dowdle, but I imagine he's walking to somewhere and he's trying to find a role.
Yeah, he wants the role. We'll see whether that comes up. I suppose just drive by real quick the last running back to bring up, Kenneth Gainwell.
It's a really interesting one.
Did he do enough? Like, is it just a product of the Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers situation that Gainwell played well enough? Because he was left for dead in fantasy drafts this year. Like, he was an afterthought, sometimes going undrafted in many places. So do you think it's for real or for fakes, Kenneth Gainwell, for 2026?
I think he's going to find a role somewhere. I just wouldn't expect anything close to what we got this season. Like, I think like this is the best we've ever seen from Kenneth Gainwell. Teams have obviously seen that. They've seen how he can be used as a weapon out of the backfield as a receiver. So some team's going to value that. I just wouldn't expect anything close to what happened this season. But like, he might be a player like we flex occasionally, but like he won't be you basically have to start him the way he was at the end of the season.
This is clearly Cordero Patterson 2.0. If you are a degenerate like Wyatt or myself, maybe you've already seen that there are certain sites that have way too early 2026 drafts up. Of course, Fast Draft. We love Fast Draft. Go draft on Fast Draft because the Origins tournament is open. We'll also check out our partners at the FFPC in the Dynasty Leagues and their way too early Best Ball 2026 leagues that are opening up in less than a week. Check it out.
Hey, why do we partner with the FFPC? Because they have the widest variety of fantasy football formats, and it's the easiest place to find all types of fantasy football contests in the world. What if you want to play for high stakes? Well, they have a $6 million prize pool with their Fantasy Players Championship. They also have way too early best ball leagues that start in February and Dynasty leagues. They have the closest thing to a liquid market for orphans that there is in all of Dynasty. And the FFPC has sponsored us for half a decade because we are actually delivering information that can help fantasy gamers, and they're generating so much interest and bringing in so many new users, casual users even. The FFPC creates a unique experience where you can both compete against the best and make money. Use promo code UNDERWORLD to get $25 off your first team. $25 off your first team at the FFPC with promo code UNDERWORLD. Go get it!
Oh, that's right. Go get it. I'm in the Origins streets. I have secured my first 2026 draft spot on the FFPC. So, like, the degenerate in me, it was January 1st, and there were these openings. So I'm already looking forward to 2026. Wyatt, here we are. I don't know if you've jumped in the streets yet.
Yeah, there's still plenty of DFS going on in Fast Draft right now. That's where my focus is. I'm in those streets trying to make sure I make some ducats on a weekly basis. But 2026 is coming soon.
Love it. Love it. And you know what else we loved? I loved in particular. That's wide receiver George Pickens. Holy buckets, dude. I was too low on George Pickens. When the trade happened, he was wide receiver 40 in ADP. And I was like doing the projections, putting it in. And I was like, he's going to be top 24 wide receiver. Like, easy. Like, I don't want to be too aggressive, but this is where he plops in. The yards per reception is just very high. He's going to get a 21% target share. Like, the Dallas offense is going to get enough pass plays. There were reasons for, like, the projections to align. I didn't have him being a top 5 wide receiver this year, and now he leads the wide receiver free agent class. I'm not optimistic that the Dallas Cowboys will fork over a pile of money to Pickens, given that they already invested so much in Dak, and they have so much invested in CeeDee Lamb, they have so much invested in Jake Ferguson, and they have so much, like, they signed Jake Ferguson to an extension this past summer. Like, there are serious investments financially in this offense already. I don't think Pickens sticks around in Dallas. So I'd probably say less than 20% chance that he returns to Dallas.
Oh, I see. I think there's a good chance he stays. I don't think they can let him out the door. I don't know if that's a long-term contract, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they franchise tag him. Yeah, I think he was just too good of a fit with what they were doing. I don't know why they would let him go. I mean, I realize they may not really be able to afford him.
The franchise tag is still expensive, Wyatt.
Yeah, but for 1 year, they might be able to figure that out.
I'm just humor me for a second. I'm looking up Spot Track George Pickens. Let's see what right now. So wow, let's see here. Pickens.
Are you looking up what they project him to get paid?
Yeah, I'm looking up what he's projected. Probably
what, 40 mil a year, something like that.
30.6.
Oh,
is
so
what Spot Track is.
That's nothing. 30.6. I guarantee you, if he gets a long-term contract, it's more than that.
So some of his comps based on Spot Track, we're looking at Jalen Waddle 3 for 84, DK Metcalf 4 for 132, Ayuk 4 for 120, and Garrett Wilson 4 for 130.
Yeah, I mean, the comps make sense just because of the cap, and we know that's going to continue to grow. I would guess that those contracts would be more if they were signed right now. That's why 40 came to mind.
Yeah, I don't know if they can. 40 might be too much, but look 30.6, and he's not even 25. Pickens turns 25 this offseason.
Yeah, you find the money for a player like that,
Okay, I think maybe we've moved it to like 35% that he. All right, you're moving the needle a little bit for me there.
Cut Jake Ferguson. You don't need to pay him. Pay George Pickens.
Look,
trade him away.
Try to convince Jerry Jones of that. Okay. All right. Another player that we're looking at, maybe. Hey. Shout out to Chuck Bass. Shout out to Chuck. He says, my friends are fighting in a group chat in IDKL. Where else to go? We love you, Chuck. Yes, you're welcome here. We're happy. This is a safe space for you, Chuck. Our arms are open wide. Our hearts are open wide to you, welcoming you into Man versus Machine. Shout out, Chuck. We love Chuck. Yeah. Trust Tree is in here, Chuck. If you guys aren't following Chuck Bass, hilarious, just very, very funny dude. Got the pleasure of meeting him in person, and Wyatt, he's so no ties.
He lives up to the billing.
He lives the bit. The bit, it's not even a bit. Like that's just
Chuck.
Incarnation of bit.
Yeah.
We love it. But what is not just a bit is wide receiver Mike Evans. He is a dude among dudes, but he's also a free agent. I don't think this is a situation where Tampa Bay moves away from him. I think they sign him to, it's not a vet minimum, but it's kind of that, like, we know, very team friendly. Like he's going to come back. He wants to try again for the playoffs. Like, this is maybe not a last hurrah, but we're very close to a last hurrah for Mike Evans. I don't think he retires. I think he does have another year. But losing that 1,000-yard streak, shucks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he's not retiring, but I bet he retires as Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, he would rather retire than move anywhere else. That's
yeah. I think this one's pretty simple. Like I said, I think team-friendly deal. He's going to come back, see if he has anything left. I mean, he still looked actually okay when healthy this past year. So yes. I think he can still contribute,
Yeah, and, we could see a significantly decreased role in 2026. We saw what Egbuka could do at the top, but then you saw McMillan be a contributor. You saw Godwin be a contributor. There's other pieces in Tampa that will just continue to eat each other until one or two of them falls to the wayside. And, we're still in on Egbuka. Like, it was clear that he was hampered by the Baker Mayfield injury. Like that was such an underrated.
He was playing worse too, gotta say.
He was not playing as well. But I think that was like the most underrated story of the entire season was Baker Mayfield hurt, Tampa Bay offense down the drain.
Yeah.
So look, that's how I'm approaching Mike Evans. He might have a couple spike weeks, but not a super target. He's probably landing back on Tampa.
Yeah.
Wide receiver Deebo Samuel. Because this Washington team is so old. And like Deebo is also one of those players that fits into that mold of like, if he's healthy and if Jaden Daniels is healthy and, well, Terry McLaurin should be healthy. Like, the market value for Deebo Samuel, who is 30 years old, is nearly $20 million per spot track. I feel that's way too high.
Yeah, I don't see it with Deebo. I mean, he had like his moments this year, but I think he is definitely nearing the end of his viability as a fantasy asset or a real asset for an NFL team. I don't see this for Deebo.
Yeah, he started very strong, was wide receiver 6 in week 1, wide receiver 7 in week 5, wide receiver 5 in week 11. So he definitely had his spike weeks. But when he didn't hit, it was like wide receiver 70, wide receiver 60, wide receiver 66, wide receiver 53, wide receiver 61, wide receiver 66. Like, when he hit hard. And when he did not hit, it was a 0. Now, the other component is he hit mostly during Jaden Daniels when he was healthy. So if they bring back Daniels, I think there is optimism for Deebo Samuel to be like a good best ball play. But you shouldn't have confidence in a start, like choose to start him in your lineup situation. So as a fantasy asset, like dynasty wise, non-best ball league, like, can you get a 3rd round pick for Deebo? Like early 3rd?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what kind of team wants Deebo at this point, because he is kind of a specialized wide receiver. And it made sense in Cliff Kingsbury's offense for the Commanders, that horizontal offense. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't even know where he goes. So like trying to project what he could do in 2026, I just don't have a lot of confidence in it.
If Aaron Rodgers returns to an offense, that would be like Deebo would be one of his favorite targets. That would be the Kenny Gainwell type, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
You're like, oh, Bradley, we're trying to get Aaron Rodgers to retire here. Come on. Fair enough. But Deebo Samuel on the wrong side of the age apex. He turns 30 years old actually tomorrow. Tomorrow is his birthday, January 15th. So shout out Deebo. Happy birthday. Happy 30th. We don't think you're a good fantasy asset anymore, but
Okay.
but you've had your moments. We loved some weeks of you. Nevertheless, we'll see where Deebo ends up. Unfortunately, it was a lost season near the end for him. Okay. The last wide receiver that we'll kind of dive a little bit more into is Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm concerned that Wan'Dale I'm happy for him. He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid a lot. I'm concerned from a fantasy perspective because some team is going to think that this is a player who deservedly earns a 33% target share. And the only reason he's getting a 33% target share is because Malik Neighbors isn't there. And Wan'Dale's going to get 20 to 22 out of the slot. He's a good player. But I feel like scheme and necessity is what led to Wan'Dale having these explosive games and artificially inflated both his real life value and inflated fantasy value. Wyatt, I'm concerned because Wan'Dale could get majorly paid and not pay off for us on the fantasy side.
I think what happens with Wan'Dale is going to depend on who the coach is. If they want to bring him back, if they think he fits what they want to do or can gear what they do to him. I would think that the Giants organization wants him back. Homegrown talent who just had the best year of his career. I don't know how much money he actually commands on the market because he is a 5'8" wide receiver, like how many teams are looking to pay that wide receiver, So I imagine the Giants want to keep him there. I'm sure they could afford him if they wanted to. It's just kind of, does the new coaching staff want to feature him, want him to be part of their plans? And honestly, I mean, they should, if not anything, because once you start removing any weapons from this offense, it starts getting thin, in the passing game. So I imagine he's going to stay around in the Giants. And obviously can't's not the right word. He could, but he likely won't duplicate what he did in 2025 with Malik Neighbors back, but he could be a good player for them still.
Malik Neighbors may not be back for week 1.
Yeah, it might take him a little bit. So, Wan'Dale could be there, lifting things up for the offense to start the season.
A couple comps. So SpotTrack has him at 15.8 mil yearly, which fits in the comparable players. It's actually higher than some of his comps. So 3 comps: Khalil Shakir, $13 million a year, 4-year deal. Josh Palmer, $29 million, 9.7 per year for 3 years. Darnell Mooney, $13 million a year, 3-year deal, 39.
Wan'Dale should get a lot more money than that if that's the comps.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you said, I think you said like 20 before. Like that's what you were thinking. Like that. Yeah, that makes more sense.
He's at 16 for SpotTrack, and so he's higher than the comps even from there. And I think it should be increased. Like, he's a proven asset, and yeah, the Giants probably will end up getting into a bidding war. I think this is a valuable player. Teams are, if they don't have a tight end in the slot, playing out of the slot, like, this is a player who can answer this role reliably for them.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking hard, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there are other free agents outside of Wan'Dale. Juwan Jennings, he could get paid this offseason. He definitely has the dog in him. We'll see whether San Francisco is motivated to keep him around, given the Brandon Ayuk situation. We expect San Francisco to move off of Ayuk.
Yeah.
But the Brock Purdy contract might be just the anchor that keeps down all of the other assets, and that's why I feel maybe it's like closer to 50-50 than
how's the IU contract work if they move off of him? How much cap space does that free up? Because if that's the case, then they'll have some hit lying around for Jennings. Which I mean,
or AJ Brown.
Hey, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the Ayuk is like definitely gone. from the 49ers. I mean, this is something we talked about in the offseason. So like hats off to us. We were hard fading Ayuk.
Like the hardest fade.
Yeah, not just the injury, and we figured it's going to be a while till he comes back, and even if he does, we're worried about it. But also that the vibes were so bad around him, because never had we seen a team pay a player and then immediately be like, anybody want to trade for him? Like, so yeah, I think Ayuk's onto another team, and that's gotta. I'm not sure how his contract is going to work right now. It's not something I happen to have looked up anytime recently, but I imagine it's going to free up some space if he's not on the team.
Yeah, that'll free up some space. Looking at, so there's just I think 3 more wide receivers that we can just drive by real quick. Alec Pierce is going to get paid this summer.
Yeah, somebody's paying him for sure.
He's paying him a lot of money. Rashid Shaheed, I think, will go back to Seattle. Like, you don't make that type of trade.
Yeah, to let him walk.
Right. And he fits the complement to JSN so well. He's a speed demon that you have to respect. But I think Romeo Doubs is going to get paid too.
I think he probably will find a nice contract. Wouldn't surprise me if he's back with the Packers though, especially because Jordan Love really loves Romeo Doubs.
He does, and I was watching the Packers-Bears game because go Pack go, and it hurt my soul because for lots of reasons. We don't need to get into that part of it. But in watching the game, Dobbs' hands, like if you watch Dobbs' hands, they're like bear paws. They are massive. They're not just like normal hands. I don't know if he has extra extenders, if he's like Vecna and he has like longer fingers, and like I don't know what this is all about. What I do know is when I look at Romeo Doubs catching footballs, he like wraps his entire hand around it. Like, some team Packers are going to want to keep him. Some team is going to want to pay him. He's getting fat stacks this offseason.
Yeah, he's not the same as Alec Pierce, but he is the same in the way that he does a role on the football field that there aren't a lot of in the NFL that can do it well, and that you can stick him on the line of scrimmage out at X all game, and he could beat press, and he could be out there. You know, Alec Pierce can do the same, which is why he's been a valuable player for the Colts even before he was producing. You know, he was getting a lot of playing time. So because the Packers don't have another one of those on their team, I think that it's going to be kind of a priority of theirs to keep him around.
Dobbs on Spot Track, $12 million average salary. But I like his comp. They put a good comp here for Gabriel Davis. Gabe Davis signed a 3-year, $39 million deal, 13 a year at 24. And Romeo Doubs is 25 right now. So I think that's a good comp for Romeo Doubs, probably 12, 13, 14 million in that range per year.
Yeah.
All right, we'll shift gears. We got a couple tight ends left. Thanks for sticking with us. Make sure you're following Wyatt at Wyatt B_FF on Twitter, on the X. You can see it on his whiteboard. It's like over there.
There you go.
There we go. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, click the like button here. We're all about it. And, you know, we're also very interested in seeing who's going to pay Kyle Pitts. I mean, could he get franchise tagged? Possibly. But, like, to take a step back, there's been a lot of love for Kyle Pitts, especially when you see, like, he had the hat trick and he had the massive explosive game, and then he continued to produce. Like, he was good to close out the year. Here's the thing. He did all of that with Drake London either out or clearly still hurt. I think that's part of an edge. I think that's an edge to be had in Dynasty or in drafts. Like, people are going to overdraft Kyle Pitts, I think, in 2026. Again. I think 2025 was the only year where he was underdrafted.
Yeah. I imagine he's going to start with a pretty high ADP, and I don't know if I'm going to be into it. I think Atlanta keeps him around, though. Again, this could be a franchise tag. This could be a long-term deal. But I think they're a team that, honestly, their roster is pretty good overall. The QB situation is a little bit of a problem because they're not really sure what they have, I would say, in Michael Penix and He's now got another long-term injury that he's going to have to come back from, which is unfortunate. But
And they're making Kirk Cousins a free agent. Like, that's
yeah,
how they restructured his
So-
contract.
because they don't necessarily have a lot of holes to try and fill, I would think you'd want to keep him around. Especially because, I mean, like, if there is a place where you could be upgrading, it's probably actually wide receiver, which I know Kyle Pitts is a tight end, but the point is that, like, pass game weapons.
Yes.
So I think keeping him around is probably a priority for them this offseason. I really think Atlanta's probably focused on keeping Kyle Pitts, adding to the offensive line, and trying to get Michael Penix back and healthy, because the rest of the team's kind of there. You know, they got a pass rush now, so the defense can show up. It's not, you know, great. It's not elite yet, but it can show up more often than not when they need it to. So, yeah, without a lot of holes to fill, I think they want to keep them around.
If Penix is not trending to start the season, I wonder if the Falcons make a move for Mac Jones.
You know, I would think that he would have better suitors. I understand it's not like up to him per se. You know, it's up to what the 49ers want to accept from another team to trade away Mac Jones. But what's Atlanta going to pay for a QB that's theoretically a fill-in until Penix is healthy? Are they going to pay more than a team who wants to make Mac Jones their starting quarterback is going to pay?
I think that they'd be willing to pay if they know that the only missing piece of their roster is really that quarterback position.
So you're saying trade for Mac Jones to make him the starter, and Michael Penix is now the backup,
Or at least competition. Like, you need to, again, make sure that you have that on lockdown. And if he's going to miss at the beginning of the year, you're not confident that he's not going to be able to be ready, get any of the practice reps. Like, Penix profiles as a backup quarterback anyways. Like, I was coming out of the draft not a fan of Michael Penix, and maybe that's my bias coming out right now too, of like, well, go get Mac Jones. I think the other part is you look at like who is running the Falcons right now. It's Matt Ryan, the pocket quarterback who led them to a lot of playoffs and who really wants to win. And
yeah, I'm not saying that they wouldn't. I'm just saying that I think that they're unlikely to offer enough to get the deal done over another team.
maybe. Yeah, we'll see what Mac Jones wants too, because Atlanta will probably be more competitive. That's a easily winnable division, right? The pathway
Well,
to
if
the
Minnesota
playoffs.
comes calling, I think that's the place to go.
Yeah. He would be in a similar competition, but a much more difficult division.
But better surroundings on his team, I would say. Better coaching staff, for sure.
Well, we don't know the coaching staff yet. O'Connell.
Who are they going to bring in as head coach who's a better offensive coach than Kevin O'Connell?
I wouldn't say better, but I think the sizable upgrade, like, I think we're comparing two different things. Like, is the gap between O'Connell and, let's say, John Harbaugh enough to offset the winnableness of that division? Because the Vikings are competing against the Packers and the Lions and the Bears. Like,
Yes,
you
because
do
you want to
have-
go play for Kevin O'Connell because he makes QBs awesome. Period.
Look, we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, I agree with you though. Overall, I think that they keep him. The spot track puts him at 14.6 mil as an average salary. And the comps are David Njoku at 13.7, 4-year deal, 54 million. Pat Freiermuth was 4 for 48, and Ferguson was 4 for 50. So, like, also shame on the Steelers for not involving Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when you read that.
Oh man, you're paying so much for such a good tight end and not using him.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Wyatt and I are going to bring it to a close here. Dallas Goedert for Philly. I think he resigns. I don't see a reason why not.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way too.
There's
Just
not like
doesn't seem
one
the
waiting in
players
the
moving on.
wings. Right,
Yeah.
Rank Calcaterra is not a thing.
Yeah, Goddard seems like a Eagle for life.
Yeah. He's an Eagle for life. Especially if they do move on from another receiving option. They're not going to move on from Smith, but maybe A.J. Brown has played his last snap as an Eagle.
It's possible. You know, the thing for Dallas Goedert, I do expect him to stay on the Eagles. I don't expect anything close to his 2025 season. For whatever reason, Kevin Patullo got to the Eagles and decided my red zone offense will be centered around Dallas Goedert. Anytime they got in the 5, they ran that stupid little screenplay where he just steps behind 2 receivers and they and catches it and they block ahead of him and he just like gets into the end zone. And like as someone who drafted a lot of Dallas Goedert this year because he finally had like a cheap price, I loved it. But as a football fan, I'm like, why is this the offense? Like you have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, and this is your favorite. I mean, like, okay.
So I knew Dallas Goedert had scored a lot of touchdowns. I just looked right now.
It's
11. 11.
Previous career high was 5.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. What's he has like 40% of his career touchdowns this year or something like that.
Touchdowns in the last 3 years before 2025.
Yeah, ridiculous stuff.
Unreal. Unbelievable. Yeah.
I want to pull up this comment real quick because I think it's a good question.
Mm.
Do you think the Eagles bite the bullet on the cap hit if AJB is that big of an issue? I don't think they can bite the bullet. I think they have to find somebody to work with them on it, like eating some money and whatnot, to actually move on from AJ Brown because the contract is real.
It's something like 72 mil in dead cap if they trade him. So something in that neighborhood.
I really don't think he's actually going anywhere just because it is so difficult to do it at this point.
Send him on a 2-month vacation to like Bermuda or something and then come back and read his book and then he'll be all good.
If the problem is with Hurts to AJ Brown, which it might be, obviously that's not going to be fixed anytime soon, and they really got to work on that. If the problem is they're frustrated because the offense they were part of, and that's like causing the tension between them, that can get fixed quick.
Right.
You know, I don't know what offensive coach they're going to end up going with, whatever offensive coordinator. Let's just say hypothetical, it's Mike McDaniel or someone like that, where we feel really good about the offense, like someone that we would expect the best players to be used properly. Something tells me that tension's going to go away. You know, like if everyone's having a good time, everyone's producing.
Winning tends to figure those things out.
Yeah,
it doesn't cure everything, but it definitely eases a lot of tension.
Yeah.
All right, drive by real fast. Travis Kelce, does he retire? Does he not retire?
I think he's done.
I think so too. David Njoku, he's gone.
Yeah, he's definitely gone. I'm trying to think if he has something left. He dealt with some injuries again this year. Didn't quite look like himself.
Is Njoku Hunter Henry 2.0?
Could be. It would not surprise me if he finds a role on our team in which he's productive, like a value, you know, based on whatever cost he's going to have. Just because I don't think he's a bad player anymore. I just, I think he got, alphaed by Harold Vannon more.
That's wild. David Njoku, market value $10 million. Some comps: Mark Andrews, 3 for 39 at 29 years old. Jonnu Smith, 1 for 12. Dallas Goedert, 1 for 10. Evan Ingram, 2 for 23. So,
sure, yeah,
all at like 29, 30 years old. So,
yeah.
I expect a team to add Njoku. I wonder if the Chiefs will bring the Chief in.
If no Kelce, I mean, they'll probably be on the market. I don't know. Maybe Noah Gray finally gets his chance, but wouldn't surprise me if they're on the market.
All right, Wyatt, this has been a lot of fun. Make sure everyone has been smashing the subscribe button, the like button, share this out. It's been a lot of fun chopping up some free agents. Make sure you guys are checking out playerprofiler.com/news for the latest updates. I'm Bradley. This is Wyatt. Until next time, everyone, good luck in your playoff best ball tournaments. Good luck in all the things you're doing, your way too early best balls, your origins. We'll see ya.